Think Tank. Today I'm going to teach you how to get people to like you, or to be more exact, I'm going to teach you how to make your best first impression. Romeo648 wrote in asking how to get people to like you, and that's why I'm doing this presentation today. I'll give you numerous examples of ways to get people to like you. I'm going to cover rapport building, mirroring, matching, representational systems, and rapport mistakes. First, I'm going to cover what is rapport. The first technique we're going to cover is rapport building. The definition of rapport is the development of a close and harmonious relationship in which two or more people understand each other and can communicate well. Most people try to build rapport by being nice to someone, followed by a sharing of common experiences. By doing this, you're saying people like themselves, and these are the reasons I'm like you. These common techniques can work some of the time, but definitely not all of the time. Building rapport is normally the difference between getting someone to like you or not. I'll teach you now what to look for and how effortlessly to gain rapport with anybody. When you are with someone you trust, you may not notice, but you naturally start to mirror him or her. Mirroring is defined as when you copy someone else's behavior, movement, body position, hand gestures, tone of language, etc. A clear example of mirroring is seen when a couple naturally completes each other's sentences. They are so in tune they actually seem to read each other's thoughts. What most people do not realize is that mirroring is a two-way street. You can actually mirror a person slightly and get them to feel closer to you naturally. When mirroring people, it is very important that it stays outside of their perception. Be very subtle by copying breathing, the speed in which they are talking, and a few phrases they're using. Don't make it obvious that you're mirroring them. The first thing you want to mirror when meeting someone is their breathing pattern. When a person inhales, their shoulders rise. They exhale when the shoulders fall, and when they speak. Monitor these two areas and copy them. Now match the speed and tone of their voice. Pay particular attention to volume, rhythm, tempo, and clarity. You could also study color changes, muscle movements, and lower lip movements, but I'll keep it simple for now. Albert Mehrabian, a researcher in the 1950s, found that the total impact of what you say is 7% verbal, words only, 38% vocal, tone of voice and inflection, and 55% nonverbal. 60 to 80% of the impact made is through what a person gathers in regards to your body language. I just did a tutorial on body language. If you want to see that, just click the link above. Women rely more on the tone of voice and body language than what words are being used, actually. So you've copied the breathing patterns and tone of voice. Now you will literally become the person you're meeting. You can now mirror their breathing pattern, voice, posture, gesturing, blink rate, and representational systems. And I'm going to cover exactly what that means. While you're mirroring, they will almost never notice. Just don't mimic their gestures while they're speaking. Instead, wait until you're talking to mirror those gestures. If you want to be positive they won't catch on, wait to mirror them after a few seconds. Now that you're sitting as they sit with the same posture and are following the tempo of their voice, breathing, etc., it is now time to go over what I mean by representational systems. Humans store memories as a series of images, sounds, and feelings. As a person talks, they will choose a representational system and give you a clue to whether they're remembering a story through images, sounds, and feelings. Visual people talk about color, 2 or 3 dimensions, locations, distance, size, brightness, and contrast. Auditory people talk about volume, sounds, tone, tempo, distance from sound, clarity, and continuity. And feeling or kinesthetic people talk about pressure, textures, intensity, weight, temperature, shape, and emotions. If you match the representational systems, a person will completely be in sync with you. Here's an example. If someone says to you, "Let me show you how bright blue the sky was," you should respond, "I see the blue sky is very bright and beautiful." Here I'm matching the fact that the person with whom I'm speaking is in a visual representational system. Keep this up and they'll soon say it's as if you're reading my mind. The reason they'll say this is that everything you say will be instantly understandable because their mind is prepared to understand your visual language. Here are some common rapport mistakes. By mirroring and matching, you will really stand out from the pack. Here I provide a few more tips that will get you building relationships even quicker. Don't try too hard to build rapport. If you try too hard, you'll come off as being desperate. People do not like desperate people. If there is a true connection, it will come through with ease. Don't be overly nice. Only be so nice that it is not interfering with the free flow of feelings and ideas. Here are some other common rapport mistakes. People are comfortable being either in charge, subordinate, or equal in conversations. Let them be the way they want to be. People try to develop deep rapport versus wide rapport. This is when a person latches onto one common interest and focuses rapport building on that subject. Wide rapport can only be developed when you share many common experiences. Wide rapport is much better than deep rapport. You can't make the mistake of offering too much information. You show people you're interested by giving them reasons to interject and speak about their stories. You must convey to the other person that you are worth getting to know. This is accomplished by changing up your interest in them throughout the first meeting. Remember, people want what they think they can't easily get. You need to suspend judgment and to listen to a person with an attitude that they are a great person and one worth knowing. You can help generate these feelings by imagining that they are someone you already admire. Now I'm going to teach you how to find out if they want to be in charge or subordinate. You can recognize if someone feels comfortable in an authority, subordinate, or equality role very easy. When you shake their hand, if they place their hand on top of yours, forcing your palm down, they are enacting control. If they shake on an equal level, they feel equal to you. Also, the first person to look away is subordinate, and the pressure they apply tells much also. Allow them to keep their role, but move slowly towards equality. Here's how you create wide rapport. The more stories you tell about different topics, ideas, and themes, the more they will sense your entire personality. This will also make the person comfortable enough to feel as if they can discuss any of their thoughts with you. Using fractionated rapport techniques will really hook a person. Here's how you do that. Focus on the person by giving them your complete attention, then let your eyes drift away a bit, acting briefly distracted. If they raise their voice or in some way try to attract your full attention, you know you're properly building rapport. When you then fully give them your attention, they will be deeply comforted and trust you more. The use of rapport hooks can allow you to easily get a person interested in you. By creating rapport hooks, you'll force the other person to struggle to build rapport with you, taking the pressure off of yourself. You create a rapport hook by starting an interesting story, and then before you talk about how you were able to get through the problem, you say, to cut to a long story short, everything worked itself out. Another great rapport hook is the introduction rapport hook. Its basic layout includes interesting comment, followed by another interesting comment, and then ended with an open-ended question. Here's one I used recently at a cocktail party in which I knew nobody. I walked up to a random gentleman and I said, "Excuse me, don't finding out how much money my broker lost me and my newborn I forgot to eat today. What looks good on the buffet?" What I did here was I gave this person many interesting things to talk about. Many people like talking about children, so I interjected that. I was not lying, by the way, I do have a child. Many people also like talking about the stock market, gambling, sports, etc. They're all pretty much the same thing. And also, many people like talking about food. And also, by asking what looks good on the buffet, they have to give me an answer other than a regular boring yes or no. And to end off this presentation, I want you to know that active listening does not work. Many people use a technique called active listening. Through active listening, we are told to hear what a person says and then recognize those words and repeat them back in a different way. They may say, for example, "I spent a beautiful day walking through the museum with my baby in my arms, admiring each brightly painted picture." A day like that shows you how colorful the world can be. What a great world it is to bring up a child. This is an incorrect response based off of active listening. I hear you. What better a place to take an infant than a museum? They always smell so clean. You don't have to worry about them catching anything there. It's one of the few places you can take an infant and not feel as if they'll get sick. In this conversation, many mistakes were made. The first person is a visual speaker, a person that moves towards goals and also refers to their baby and has a soft tone. The second, while trying to find a general interest, speaks in audio and kinetic terms, moves away from problems, refers to the infant, and even though they're speaking of a similar experience, they're definitely not seeing it in the same way. Here's a correct response based off of a matching technique. I see what you're saying. I spent many a beautiful day with my baby in my arms, walking through the museums and parks, enjoying each bright and colorful day. I used to dress her in a little pink outfit and paint the town. What else did you see that day? Active listening can make the person believe you missed the point, that you have misunderstood them. A technique known as tracking back will gain you much better results. By tracking back, you actually speak in their language using phrases that they have used. Well, that's the end of the presentation. If there's a question that you have, please post it in the comment section below. Till next time.